Sup, it's Hallie. Welcome back to Liberation, Act 1. When we last left off, we were getting started with Monica's route here, and we're gonna see how that goes. I went about my day like yesterday, walking to school with Sayori, chatting and pretending it wasn't only the second time that she and I had ever met. But my mind kept drifting back and forth between Monica and Mr. X, as if there was something else going on that neither of them were telling me. It was difficult to concentrate in class, but then I realized it probably didn't even matter anyway since I wasn't planning on getting my high school diploma in a video game. Another thought, though, had occurred to me during class. When I look in a mirror, all I see is me, as in my true self in the real world. Or in my real-world body, rather. So if that's the case, whatever happened to this, world's MC? And why didn't Monica recognize that something was off immediately when we met? Or maybe she did. Anyway, I'm snapped out of my reverie when a familiar smile shows up.
Hi again, Hallie. Glad to see you didn't run away on us.
I smiled warmly back. Nah, you don't have to worry. I'm not going anywhere. I was the last to come in, so everyone else is already hanging out. Just then, Yuri and Natsuki both noticed me simultaneously and approach.
It's nice to see you again, Hallie. I hope you're finding your time here so far to be enjoyable. Making you dive headfirst into a club when you're not accustomed to it.
Oh, come on! Like he deserves any slack! Sayori told us you've never really joined any clubs prior to this one!
This is true. But it was only because I never really found one that I thought was interesting enough to join.
No, I'm not buying it! I don't know if you plan to just come here and hang out or what, but if you don't take us seriously, then you won't see the end of it!
Not?
No, she's right, Monica. I plan to do my part to help make this club the best it can be. Natsuki huffs and rolls her eyes.
Yeah, we'll see.
Well, I tried to be nice, but I just can't help but take this opportunity to tease Natsuki a little bit. Sorry, Monica, in advance for stealing your line. Besides, someone has to be the mature one here, and while others read their manga. I look straight at her when I say this with a smile on my face. Monica looks at me mischievously. I'm guessing that even though she wasn't the one to get the quip in, she's just happy someone said it. She smiles and nods slightly at me. Natsuki finds herself stuck between saying mature and manga.
Manga is literature!
Swiftly defeated, Natsuki plops back into her seat. I puff out my chest victoriously.
Don't worry, guys. Hallie always gives it his best as long as he's having fun. He helps me with busy work without me even asking. Like cooking, cleaning my room.
How dependable.
I start to blush. Even though I know the person Sayori is talking about isn't me, for some reason hearing her say that while everyone else looks at me makes me squirm a little. I wouldn't go that far. Besides, I like to cook.
Is it so?
You two are really good friends, aren't you? I might be a little jealous.
How come? You and Hallie can become good friends too.
Both Yuri and I look at each other simultaneously and then quickly glance away. This is getting awkward. Sayori. I'm beginning to understand the original MC's plight. Sayori seems oblivious to the weird situation she just put me into.
Oh, Yuri even brought you something today, you know.
Wait, Sayori.
Oh, that's right, Yuri got me a book. I've actually been kind of interested in reading it. Like, actually reading it. What little I know about it sounds interesting. Oh, you got me something?
Not really.
Don't be shy.
It's really nothing.
What is it?
Never mind. Sayori made it sound like a big deal when it's really not. What do I do?
I'm sorry, Yuri. I wasn't thinking.
I feel bad that Sayori and I have put Yuri into an uncomfortable situation. I try to rectify it. Hey, don't worry about it. It's not like I was expecting anything to begin with. So anything you would have gotten me is a pleasant surprise. I know it'll make me happy no matter what.
Is that so?
Yeah, I won't make it a big deal if you don't want it to be.
Alright. Well, here.
Yuri reaches into her bag and pulls out a book.
I didn't want you to feel left out, so I picked out a book that I thought you might enjoy. It's a short read, so it should keep your attention even if you don't usually read. And we could, discuss it if you wanted.
Well, crap, this is almost too much to take. When you read about situations like this in fiction or manga, it's more of an eye roll and move on type situation. Actually experiencing it is probably one of the most flattering but equally uncomfortable experiences I've had in a long time. She's really cute. Yuri, thank you. I'll definitely read this. I enthusiastically take the book. Jeez, I could have at least pretended to act cool.
Phew. Well, you can read it at your own pace. I look forward to hearing what you think.
Now that everyone's settled in, I expected Monica to kick off the poem reading, but that doesn't seem to be the case. Siri and Monica are having a cheery conversation in the corner. Yuri's face is already buried in a book. I can't help but notice her intense expression, like she was waiting for this chance. Meanwhile, Natsuki is rummaging around in the closet. Alright, I should probably spend some time with one of them first. Monica has been on my mind a lot recently. Not just because she and I now know each other's secret, but it was pretty evident since I also kind of wrote my poem last night with her in mind. I see Monica head out of the classroom, telling Siri she'll be right back. I decide to follow her out and accompany her to wherever she's going. Hey Monica, wait up! At first this seems to startle her as she whirls around to see where the call out came from. Once she spots me, however, her expression softens and she smiles and waves.
Oh, hey, Hallie. How are you doing? I figured you'd be spending time with one of the others right now.
Yeah. I rub the back of my head. There'll be other opportunities to spend time with them, I'm sure. I just wanted to see how you were doing, with everything. Monica's expression seems to sadden a little, but she maintains her trademark smile.
Oh, don't worry about me. I'm doing alert. I just wanted to get something from the machine before we all started to share booms.
I see. I'm not sure I really buy it, as her eyes seem to tell me she's hurting and hiding something, but I don't want to push too much either. At least not right now, since she and I don't exactly have a lot of trust built yet. Is there anything in particular you're in the mood for?
Yup, I'm a creature of habit, so I usually get the same thing.
She punches in SO3 into the machine, and a candy bar rolls forward before depositing itself in the bottom bin of the machine. Good choice.
I thought so.
With that, the two of us find a nearby bench and sit while she places the candy bar inside her purse. But that's clearly a drink vending machine. You're not going to eat it?
Oh no, I keep a candy bar in my purse for emergencies or in case I get hungry during times I can't get away.
I see. Well, that's a good idea. Oh wait, is such an emergency involved? Would such an emergency? My mind drifts back to Natsuki, as if sensing what I'm thinking and suggesting. Monica nods curtly.
Yes. Unfortunately, some issues still remain, and it's good to have something on standby in case she's having one of those days.
I see. Well, I'm glad she has someone like you looking out for her.
Well, she has all of us looking out for her, including you now.
I suppose that's true. Thank you. I'm beginning to see why Monica is the president, even if it's a fictional club. Actually, no, I should probably stop calling it fictional. I mean, technically that's true, but I feel like the more I say it, the easier it would be to become detached from it. At least that much of what Mr. X said is true. As long as I'm in here, this is about as real as it gets as far as my brain is concerned. Plus, this is all still a real world to Monica and the others. She may not have seen it as such at first, but I think she's starting to come to grips with the nature of reality. And in the end, this is her reality, and for the moment, mine as well.
Penny for your thoughts.
Monica breaks me out of my contemplating. Sorry, I was just thinking about how real everything seems now. You seem to be handling everything pretty well, all things considered. I really admire that, if I'm being honest. Monica blushes.
Well, I wouldn't say I've fully come to terms with everything quite yet, but I definitely have a much better handle on the situation, and I thank you, or I have you to thank for that.
Me?
It helps having someone here that can relate. It takes a little bit of the sting out of the loneliness and feeling of isolation.
Yeah, I suppose that's true.
So, how have you been doing with everything? I imagine it must be pretty unsettling living and sleeping in an empty house in a strange new world. Well, I suppose it's not entirely empty.
Yeah, it's definitely something else. Though I have to admit, it's interesting to see how different yet same everything is here. This causes Monica to furrow her brow in confusion.
What do you mean?
Just that everyone here is going about their daily lives much in the same way that people from my world would. If I hadn't known any better, I would have just thought I had woken up in some place that was still in my world. She nods in agreement.
Yeah, I can see that. Naturally, I would imagine this game was created based on the experiences and knowledge of the real world from the designer.
True. We sit there for a minute, contemplating what else to say to each other when Monica speaks up.
How are you getting along with Mr. X? Has he given you any clue or indication of what he really wants?
My roomie. Yeah, he and I get along great. We go to all kinds of parties, and Monica doesn't seem amused.
Hallie.
Sorry, I guess I'm just really uneasy with the whole situation. Humor helps me cope. Monica's expression softens a bit. It is true, though, whenever faced with anxiety or depressive thoughts, people often turn to humor as a coping mechanism. There are certainly worse coping mechanisms to have, but it can be off-putting when you make an ill-timed joke, so I've become an expert at foot-from-mouth removal.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's completely understandable. After all, I used to be a bit of the macabre humor, before. I don't have any room to judge.
Ah, yeah, I suppose there was a certain amount of that when she was going through her own existential crisis. Well, at any rate, to actually answer your question, I'm not a fan of having some ominous being watching me while I sleep, so admittedly I haven't been getting much sleep since I arrived.
I'm sorry to hear that. I can understand that as well. Is there anything I could do to help?
Admittedly, I considered requesting to stay at her place, but realized quickly how that would sound and for multiple reasons decided against it. I should be okay for now. I don't sense he'll do anything to me, at least yet. As for his motives and intentions, he seems to still be trying to formulate a plan, but one thing I know for sure is that he seems to have a vested interest in you. Monica shows this moment of shock or surprise before quickly composing herself.
Me?
Yeah, he keeps asking for updates on you and basically trying to keep tabs. It could be that he's just worried you might still have your abilities and could, be an obstacle to him. Sorry, that sounded weird.
No, I get it.
The thing that I don't get, though, is why he needs me to keep tabs on you. I mean, he's got all this supposed power or abilities, so why can't he just come here and keep tabs himself? Monica sits there quietly for a moment, looking down at her feet, as if deliberating on what to say. I begin to sense that she's struggling to confide in me about something. Whatever she's hiding, she's probably trying to gauge whether or not she feels comfortable enough telling me. With a sigh, she steadies her breath and looks up at me.
It probably has to do with the firewall.
The what now? Firewall? Monica nods.
Yes, back when I was trying to take control of the game, one of the things I learned about was firewalls and their capabilities. I wasn't very good with coding yet, and admittedly I was a bit preoccupied with you and everyone else, but it just didn't seem like a high priority. I mean, after all, there was nobody else that could control the game, or at least so I thought, so why bother? Plus, things were rapidly deteriorating, so time was a luxury I didn't have.
Oh no. Not deteriorating. Deteriorating.
But one of the things I had managed to do was put one up around the club room, sort of like a layer of protection. It wasn't really meant to do anything at the time, but be proof of concept. I suspect that the firewall is what's keeping him out, or at least preventing him from knowing what's going on inside.
Wait a minute. I wonder... Well, that's interesting. To be honest, something odd did happen when I walked through the club room for the first time. This seems to have caught Monica off guard as she looks surprised and unnerved to hear this.
Really? What happened?
It was weird. It was like the moment I stepped through, everything just sort of glitched for a few seconds. But then it stopped just as quickly and nobody else seemed to notice. Monica is deep in thought for a moment as she starts trying to piece together a hypothesis.
That may very well have been the firewall. When you passed through it for the first time, it was probably scanning you to see if you were an intruder or something.
An intruder? Well, I mean, it's not completely wrong. So why did it let me through?
I'm not entirely sure, though I suspect it's because of Mr. X.
What do you mean?
Well, he probably cannot or can't alter his own code, or at least not very much due to it being incomplete. So the firewall may see him as a virus or something foreign. But if his plans include you infiltrating the club, then he probably made sure to set up your character profile so that the game and firewall both don't or didn't see it as a threat. And though this is mostly conjecture, since I'm still not completely familiar with the firewall process, it was a bit of luck that I somehow managed to get one up in the first place. I suppose it was still in place when the game was recompiled, and Mr. X realized that if he allowed me to have my abilities, I might catch on and put more up to keep him out.
I can't say all of this entirely makes sense to me, but I think I am following along enough to get the idea. Wow. Well, I guess that's great that everyone is protected, at least while they're in the classroom. But what about when everyone leaves?
That I'm not sure. I suppose it could be he doesn't see anyone else as a threat, or maybe he was telling the truth that altering their character codes might cause complications. Either way, this is good. Without my abilities, I had no way of knowing whether or not the firewall was still up. Now that I'm reasonably sure it is, we have a base of operations we can operate out of to plan.
Ah, yeah, I suppose that's true. Uh-oh. The realization suddenly dawns on me that we're not currently in the club room, so everything we've been talking about could be intercepted. As if sensing exactly what I was thinking, Monica shakes her head.
Don't worry, he can't hear us.
How do you know? Monica grows silent again. She looks a little embarrassed, but also a bit ashamed.
I put up a firewall around your house as well.
What? The frack? I finished my thought aloud.
I managed to put up a second one as well around the MC's house because, well, my initial plan was to basically walk us both in there.
Wow, and holy crap. Yandere, thy name is Monica. Well, I can't believe I'm asking this, but what changed your mind?
Mainly, I was running out of time. My paranoid mind thought maybe if we could have a house all to ourselves, we could live out my
She cuts herself off.
Anyway, there wasn't time to get everything set up when the game started quickly deteriorating, because I didn't know what I was doing. So I had to make do with the club room as a last-minute resort. It was all I could salvage with what little time and knowledge I had.
Alright, the space room.
The what?
Ah, sorry, never mind.
Well, I suppose that's an apt description, but at any rate, the firewall around the MC's house may have actually inadvertently trapped Mr. X in there.
Wait, you're saying he's stuck in there with me?
Well, you can leave the house at least, but yeah, I think he may have been stuck in there and has been trying to find ways to get past the firewall.
That seems equal parts terrifying and convenient. Well, guess that confirms that he was lying when he said he existed outside of everything back when we first met. Unless Monica is lying to me, though I don't get the sense that she is.
But Hallie, promise me you'll be careful, okay?
I promise.
Although he may still be confined there for the time being, who knows what he's capable of? He found a way to pull you in and code it so that the game would let you pass through the firewalls.
A scary thought, but reasonable to be sure. I'm not sure I want to go back to the house now, to be honest. Monica looks at me sadly and nods.
I understand that. I really wish I could just tell you to stay in the club room or something. But aside from the obvious problems that would create with the faculty and staff here, we don't want to make her suspicious. Unfortunately, we still need to play along for the time being.
Yeah, I suppose you're right.
If it's any consolation, though, I don't think he'd do anything to you. He needs you at least for right now, so I'm guessing as long as you continue to be useful for him, he has no reason to harm you.
Very, very little consolation, but thanks. Monica half-heartedly smiles. Seriously though, I'm glad you're here. It helps knowing someone else knows everything going on.
Thanks, Hallie. I'm really happy that you're here. Anyway, speaking of here...
Yeah, I guess we should be heading back, huh?
Yeah, but want the others to get the wrong idea.
Monica looks playfully at me. I'm a bit flustered, which she seems to take delight in, letting out a small giggle.
Just kidding. You should have seen the look on your face, though.
Yeah. With that, we both get up from the bench when we were sitting on and start making our way towards the classroom.
Oh, by the way, Hallie, did you remember to write a poem?
I did, yeah. I mean, of course I did. It'd be kind of awkward if I didn't.
I suppose, but you are new here after all, so I didn't want to put any pressure on you or anything if you hadn't. There's still a lot for you to adjust to, I'm sure.
Oh, it was nothing. I was feeling particularly inspired last night anyway.
Oh, well in that case I can't wait to read your poem.
She gives the biggest smile I've seen yet from her. So are you really an honor student and all that? She lets out a small sigh. I can tell I've touched on a subject she isn't too eager to get into.
I am, but it can be draining. Some days it can be difficult to keep up with everything.
Well, I hope you don't think I'm just saying this, but if you ever need to just, vent, I'm here. I may not be able to offer much advice, but I can at least listen. Smiling, she looks as though she wants to say something else, but at the last second thinks differently.
Thank you, Hallie. That means a lot to me. It really does. I should be offering you the same thing. You could probably use someone to talk to more than anyone.
Thanks, but I've been in worse situations. She looks at me with a deadpan expression. Well, okay, not really, but so far anyway, I suppose things haven't been too bad. Do you ever just want to yell or scream or cuss or do something that would be so completely unlike you or that people know?
Sometimes. I've screamed into my pillow at times or punched a beanbag chair a few times.
Well, glad I didn't get pulled in as a beanbag chair. You sound a little bit like Natsuki there. Do you secretly like manga too? She giggles.
Not really, but just between you and me. I may have looked through one or two of her volumes when she wasn't around.
I gasped and clutched my non-existent pearls. You did what? She's gonna be so angry with you if she finds out.
I didn't mess them up. I was really careful to make sure they were put back exactly the way I found them.
I meant she'd be upset that you didn't consult her first on which manga to read. She punches me lightly in the arm. Hey, save it for your beanbag chair. We laugh a bit as we approach the classroom door. Thanks for talking with me, by the way. I really appreciate it.
I should be thanking you. I haven't really been able to talk like this with someone in a long time.
Always happy to help. I can see how she'd be popular in this world. Aside from being attractive, she's organized, intelligent, funny. Easy to talk to as well. But I sense that that's not all it's cracked up to be. I can tell she's always under immense pressure to live up to the expectations placed on her by others in society. She probably doesn't even get much of a chance to just let her guard down and be herself very often. Moments like these. I hope I can give her more moments like these, where she can feel comfortable enough to be herself.